Live from Claris Engage, it's FM Training TV. And now your host, Richard Carlton.
Hi everyone, Richard Carlton here, creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day we're learning about the Claris FileMaker platform. We're very excited today. We're at Claris Engage 2025, and we have the Vice President of Product Management, Giuliano Iacobelli, and he is here to kind of recap the essential elements that he wants to communicate to the community about the platform and where they're going. So this is a conversation that was largely laid out to the people who were attending the conference here live, but we think the messaging is important to get out to the rest of the audience, rest of the customer base.
Absolutely.
And so what is going on, right, with Claris? What's our focus? What's our initiatives? What do you want us to know?
So I guess what we've been sharing during the keynote yesterday was Blodgett would put it in two buckets. One is how the platform has advanced since last year, since we would show it last year by introducing a new product, and how everything is coming together and advancing across the board. And the other one is how artificial intelligence is having an impact specifically in our industry, what we're doing about it. Some of the foundational element of our story and I have some supporting slide, and I'm not trying to go through a formal presentation, but just to have some visuals for the people to take a look at. But essentially, what's happening out there is that generative AI has been unlocking possibilities that were largely unimaginable a couple of years ago. And today, small and medium businesses have opportunity to unlock value from data in way that they used to be out of reach for them. I mean, they were technically possible, but just the effort and investment and the skills required to get there were just way too much for them. And now this is way more within reach, and all of this happenings while also developers have the tools and opportunities to build better software faster. And the implication of this change is that if you're a company who have laid digital foundation to streamline your operation, you're probably set for exponential gains. I mean, the artificial intelligence compounds what's already there. You're gonna have the opportunity to do like 10x what you were doing in terms of value that you can extract from.
We have seen that personally. Not every customer is using AI, but the ones that are, it was a dramatic improvement in that area. It was truly, really revolutionary for them, and they swear by it. They love it.
I believe you. And so those companies are in a great position. Those were not yet. I mean, the clock is ticking. I don't want to instill FOMO, but it's a thing. Because AI is not going to just speed up innovation. It's going to stretch the gap between those who it's going to be able to capitalize on the gains that you can get out of this new technology wave, and those who cannot. And for the specific audience and for what we do here, we think it's an incredible opportunity, because now the ability to digitize your operation is more affordable and more achievable than ever. So for people that solve problems with custom software right now, it's a great time to be in this market, because AI has been tipping the scale on the traditional buy versus build decision. So all businesses that used to gravitate toward buying off-the-shelf product now are reconsidering using custom as a way to operate their business, because at the end of the day, there is always a trade-off in place. When you buy off-the-shelf software, you end up bending your process to the software when it should really be the other way around. And way more opportunities are being open right now, because more companies will lead toward custom software as a competitive edge to streamline their operations.
No, that's very true. We've seen a lot of conversation with people about using the Claris FileMaker platform at the end user level, where the AI is helping the end user, but then we've seen some developers trying to use AI to help them build solutions faster, better, right? And so that becomes, in fact, there's our new slide right there, right? The idea of out of the box. We spend a lot of time articulating, and you're not around to see all this, but we spend a lot of time articulating that the Claris FileMaker platform is really good about making a custom solution that fits to your business. Otherwise, if you buy something off the shelf that's generic, you have to adjust your organization to work the way that software works. And that may or may not be a good fit. right?
Absolutely.
So you're saying that the AI helps bring higher value to custom builds, or it makes it less expensive to get a custom build? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I mean, there is definitely that, but I would look more from a perspective that there were projects that was simply out of reach and couldn't be done. It would have been non-economically viable. And this is no longer the case. So you can do more than you could before. You can tackle new project that you couldn't do. And then again, going back to what we do here for our developers, most importantly, um, we see an opportunity when we bring to developers rich capabilities combined with the efficiency gains that AI gives to you into the platform you know and trust. You're gonna have the opportunity to tackle projects that weren't possible, were not possible before that.
Yeah, for us, with our customers, I think it took something that was marginally functional. In the case of what we were doing with AI, we had voice dictation.
Mm-hmm.
And the older technology for taking the voice dictation, turning into text was kind of okay, but not really great. And we had people who would maybe be very greasy. They're in a very environment where they're like mechanics are working on things physically, and they have a iPhone and they're making recordings in their hands and they're greasy and they're a mess,
Mm-hmm.
and they may not enunciate well. And the AI made that so much better by understanding the context of what they're saying and making sure that that was uh, the audio was converted into meaningful text that was accurate. Something that before I think it would have been marginally a fail became a raging success, and everyone wanted it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then people started wanting it. Well, can it do this? And can it do this? And once again, the classic of the FileMaker developer, you get some success, things start working well, and before long,
You have a snowball effect
yeah, and they want it everywhere. Then
of
the
like
CEO comes
flywheel.
to me and goes, "Well, can I get the audio to help me make decisions in the
Mm-hmm.
company?" He's being serious. I'm like, "Well, it's not you. You still have to do your job, but it will help
Right.
make your job much better or faster." So, yeah.
Yeah. So there is definitely that. I guess where we spend some time is explaining pretty much how we're focusing in terms of AI strategy, which is can be summarized in few things. Like it's a twofold approach. One is making sure that developers have additional building blocks so that they can deliver AI powered feature to their end users. So elements that allow them to create smarter apps, so to speak, which is a terminology might come across a little bit funky, but essentially you're gonna leverage this technology to build better apps for the end user or to solve problems that you couldn't solve before. And the other one is enhancing developers' productivity. So all the work they used to do within the development environment can be assisted, and so that we can augment the developer efficiency from that perspective. On the first category, I think we started last year when we introduced semantic search. Was a great example on how you could unlock value from existing data, because there are tons of FileMaker deployments out there that have been running operations for business and therefore have been collecting data for decades, for years, and in some cases for multiple decades. And so the ability to reinvent search experiences for the end user allows those existing solutions to be augmented with a more effective way of searching for things. A semantic search is just a better way of searching that doesn't rely exactly on the exact keyword matching like you normally would do, which implies that the person who's using the solution needs to know exactly what word has been used to categorize something. And we've seen great things built with it, right? You would see FileMaker solution used to do customer support, where you would be able to look for lookalike cases by just writing what the problem is about. And even if there is no actual one-to-one match with the words you're typing in your search box and the other case are being retrieved, yet this tools allows you to find it by similarity in terms of context being dealt with and not the actual matching of the word. So a lot of great things have been built with it, which basically have proven how by bringing those AI capabilities in an environment that our developer community knows and trusts, lead very quickly to great results, right? The couple of lines we had yesterday on the keynote is that with our approach, you get to add AI to your solution just with a couple of script steps, right? Every solution is a couple of script steps away. It's all about making advanced features feel familiar rather than intimidating. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all of the taste but none of the calories, essentially.
All the taste and none of the calories. There we go. Well, that's what's in market right now with the current product in
Correct.
market. So are we going to enhance or expand what
Yeah.
I'm poking him here. I'm trying to get him to
No, no,
talk about the new stuff. This is
absolutely.
good.
With as part of the story, the things we shared yesterday, and I'll get there maybe just to have some supporting visual here. We've been talking how the new upcoming version of FileMaker is going to have, new capabilities. On the AI angle, there was a section of the keynote where Ronnie Rios, who's another member of the product management team, who's been driving a lot of this effort jointly with the engineering team, of course, has shown all the things that we were doing and how there is enhanced script steps to interact with models in a way that is much easier than it is right now. It literally takes 2 script steps. He showed how we're going to bring the ability to run models locally alongside with server without having to do any of the actual heavy lift that it takes to do the setup of the environment that it's required to run a model locally. And all of that can be managed from the server admin console UI, where there is a new section where you can actually search for models, which are largely pulled from one of the largest hub that is out there, which is Hugging Face. And those can be automatically downloaded, activated, and run locally. You manage everything from the server admin console. And then from FileMaker, you use the script steps to interact with this model so that you can exchange data back and forth, which is pretty powerful.
That's an improved integration at the server level. That's exciting. The other one that was exciting for a lot of the people here, we have a lot of people on the show. I mean, we have a very wide variety of FileMaker. It's like Engage, right? You have beginners, you have intermediates, you have
Mm-hmm.
people who've been around for 30 years plus whatever. Yeah. So, but for beginners and intermediates, sometimes that trying to teach them advanced calculations, right, is a trick. We spend a lot of time discussing like how to have a calculation that's going to calculate the proper date if we don't have a weekend and a holiday and it's and we come up with these very elaborate long calculations, and one of the things you showed was an assist for that process.
Yeah, I was getting there. I think what Ronnie also showed during the keynote is something that's a little bit more forward-looking. So it's not going to go live with the next release of FileMaker that is expected to go out early summer. Um, but we hope to be able to ship it as quickly as possible right after that. But essentially, was showing how within the IDE, the actual environment of FileMaker Pro, specifically in the calculation, at least that was the part that was shown. You could be assisted within the product by asking to a conversational UI, basically a chat box about I need to solve this problem. How do I do it? And within the IDE of FileMaker Pro, you would get basically an answer that would suggest what is the function that you should write in the calc engine that solves your problem, alongside with a fairly articulate explanation of why is that, which is also a great tool to get people maybe more familiar with the areas of the platform they might not know yet, or for new developers, we felt like it's solving 2 problems at the same time. It makes more efficient existing developers that already know how to go about it anyway, but they might still need some support or look up for an answer in the documentation, while also being a great assistant for new developers. They don't know the platform as well yet.
Oh, absolutely. There were 2 parts about this that were really exciting. One is a trainer, because we do a ton of training,
Mm-hmm.
was educating people on why. Sometimes we give them the answer, but they don't know why. And the AI helped generate the calculation for them and then explain, like you just said, why it was done this way, or what was the
Mm-hmm.
logic of this. And the part that's broader, that's more interesting for me, is it shows kind of the intent, the direction of Claris in bringing AI to help the developers build solutions faster, right? And of course, one of the topics, it's every time Claris comes up with something really amazingly uh, forward facing, then I have a handful of people going to me, oh, Claris is going to put me out of business because they won't need a developer anymore to build
Mm-hmm.
this. The customer will say, build me a database that does stuff and read my mind, and out it comes. And far from it. The customers always are going to spend money on a solution, but with newer versions of FileMaker for their, say, 20, 30, $50,000, whatever their budget is, they're going to get much further in terms of what they can have built with that.
It could be the case. I mean, there are a lot of nuances there that needs to be consider. But largely speaking, I mean, the word of being put out of business, I don't think it's an actual thing. I believe that in this context, right, the ability to translate between business requirements and technical solution is still the most important thing that problem solver bring to the table. And as implementation time decreases, that things become even more valuable. And at the end of the day, this technology, meaning the AI in itself, is no silver bullet anyway. It builds on top of a platform that gives the AI the building blocks to work with. So if you don't have an underlying platform that can bring to life whatever the AI is suggesting, you can only go so far. So the combination of the two is what
it's hugely powerful.
You have the real breakthrough.
Yeah, it's hugely powerful. We've had, but even before you were here, over the years, we've had people come to us and say, "Oh my gosh, script triggers are going to put us out of a job or something like that," and it's never been the case. For me, it's year 35. Claris, it's 40. For me, it's 35. Andy, it's like 37 years. A lot of people have been here a long time. The developers are always essential. Talking to the customer, doing the consulting part of the job, translating what their needs are, what their workflow is, bringing that into the platform. The AI is just going to help them do it better, faster, maybe get further with the budget. I see that for sure. And then also helping educate and train people, because you don't pick up FileMaker in 2 seconds. It takes a little bit of work. Yeah, it takes some work to learn the platform. And so we greatly appreciate you adding the AI developer facing features. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. So there is a lot of new stuff coming up with a new upcoming version of FileMaker 2025, that is going to be available early summer. Again, as we were saying before, there are new building blocks, so to speak, to infuse existing solution with AI while we're exploring, although it won't be available immediately, but we were exploring, as we show in the keynote. I don't have it here right now, but I'm sure there will be opportunities for us to maybe come on your show again and show some of it, that we're bringing inside FileMaker the ability to accelerate how you build solution. And the example we showed yesterday during the keynote was how you can generate more faster generation of calculation and function within the calc engine just by asking to a chat interface what problem you're trying to solve. And alongside the recommendation, you also get an actual explanation and of why the answer is that with a pretty good breakdown of the steps they took to get there. So we think that's pretty powerful. But there is also a lot of other stuff being enhanced within FileMaker and the rest of the platform. Some of the things that are coming up focus on improved developer experience, which includes things like code folding in the scripts workspace. So you can collapse blocks of code to better and visually organize your scripts. We're introducing folders for custom function, which is another area where developers with complex deployment might used to have to scroll a very long list to find what's in there, and that they have means to better organize their custom function. We have improving how you can add and remove objects from group one in the layout mode, which normally would have required grouping and ungrouping of something to create a new group. And right now you just have an addition with one single click, which is in itself, it's a small enhancement, but from the amount of time that developers have to do their operation is still a big productivity gain. Those are also the small things that matters. I think we have improved a lot also how you can make secure server deployment with SSL certificates. Last year, I'll get there in a moment. Sorry, this is a force. I'll get there in a moment. Last year, we've introduced support for Let's Encrypt free SSL certificates. So you can have your server running with those, which was incredibly well received. However, installing and managing that certificate required bash scripting experience, time, and attention. And right now, all that heavy lifting, it's gone. FileMaker server can do all of it. And so as a developer person who has to maintain server, all it takes is just a couple of clicks from the server admin console to install, validate, and run the certificates, and server can now also automatically renew the certificate. So a lot of additional overhead and manual work to manage SSL certificate within server has been relieved. In terms of experience, and maybe going back to the developer, improve developer experience, improvement we'll be making is also in the FileMaker Pro interface on macOS, which is being updated and renewed. I think it's a step toward aligning and bridging the gap with the Apple's design language. We know all native application built on Mac follow some guidelines and some patterns. So we're trying to close the gap there. These updates include, changes in typography, padding, spacing, iconography. It's not an overhaul, but when you open Pro, if you're a user that are used to run software on macOS, you will see the familiarity. Will come across at a more familiar environment.
Sure.
So there is some of that. And then additional functions. So one interesting one is that one that improves the way you can extract content from PDF, specifically text, and have that funnel to a text field of choice immediately, which I think goes well alongside with all the other enhancements related to AI, because it's basically just an enhanced way to get data that you can then leverage in other ways. And semantic search is a good example where you could extract all this content from PDF, process it, create vector embeddings out of it, and then you can look up information from this PDF in a much better way. So those two things combined feed one another. So there are a bunch of very interesting updates there. I mentioned about AI strategy earlier. Again, goes back to two main buckets: in giving either building blocks to add AI to solutions, or giving developers assistance through AI to be more productive within the development environment. Again, FileMaker 2025 was going to be available early summer. I would argue it's going to be a similar timeline of last year. So let's call it June-ish, mid-June-ish, something along those lines. And alongside that, I think what we also shared yesterday, we showed a progress on the story we laid down last year about making sure that you always have the right tools for the job, like a platform where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, right? Where you can address both internal facing use cases, which have their own constraint of, when need to run within control environment within a certain scale, you might want to have the certain type of experience control in a certain way. When you shift toward external facing solution, different set of problems, like you need to address a web-based experience that needs to be consistent on any device and have different scalability challenge. And the third element of the platform was the data integration layer. So the ability to integrate and move data across multiple systems through REST APIs in a scalable, repeatable, and secure way. So without going into the weeds of all the enhancements across the board, which again, I'm sure we're going to have opportunity to, have focus and dedicated time on that across Studio and Connect. I guess the important thing I wanted to be able to share with the audience today is that all of this are now actually available as part of the existing FileMaker license. So Studio and Connect are available for free within certain limits to any customer with an active, eligible FileMaker license. I'm assuming the question I can anticipate, okay, what eligible means.
That would be an annual subscription, right?
That's one of the eligible one right now. Yeah. I would say the lion's share of our base, and that's how we went about prioritizing our choices, just so you cannot boil the ocean. The eligible license right now is anyone who's running on an annual license, as you just said. Then we have, perpetual licenses with active maintenance contract. That for us is absolutely a valid eligible license, and anyone who's running on our cloud hosted service, so FileMaker Cloud. So if you have any of those licenses right now, there is a way to request access to the product, and you get provision, Connect, and Studio at no additional cost. And those two accounts or organization within Connect and Studio will be tied to your license key of FileMaker, so that it's in there and can be used right away. there is some depending on what product are being used out there, but in the server admin console, in the cloud console, there's an in-product notification that take you to the page where you can actually submit a request.
Okay.
To get the account provision, and maybe for this specific audience, we'll be more than happy to provide you maybe a link that in case you want to make it more visible through the stream. So those are some of the key points, condensed in probably no more than 12 minutes of talking. So that there's way more to add and areas where we can spend more time maybe in the coming days. But just appreciate the opportunity to be here and quickly summarize what we've been sharing yesterday.
No, absolutely. We want to connect with the rest of the product management team, anyone that can help educate the community, educate us on where the features are at, where they're going, how we can make the FileMaker developer community more effective at what they do. It's kind of the motto of what the live streams are about, helping them be better, right? Helping them make better solutions, improving their value to the organizations they serve. It sounds kind of trite and kind of cliche, but making a better solution, and honestly, at the end of the day, making them more valuable in their organizations, right? So it sounds kind of dumb, but it's like, if I can allow them to educate and make a better solution, then they will be more valuable to the organization. FileMaker has increased value. It's a win for everyone.
Absolutely.
So. All right, great. Well, I appreciate Giuliano. You have a good day, and we'll catch you again.
Absolutely. Thank you.